Hi everybody, my name is Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. So here we are again, really, you and me and the crew, and our lives, each of our lives, and each of them are in a way different, and each of them in a way are separate, and they're filled with all kinds of love and drama and jobs and mortgages and children and parents and health and death and all the things that human lives have as part of them. And what is it in our lives that really brings us happiness, that really brings us joy? And for most of us, we've, let's say, been through a lot of the ups and downs. And we know somehow that the ups and downs and the loves and unloves and the jobs and the not jobs and the people thinking we're great and not so great and not great at all, happen over and over again. And we're on this cycle, this up and down. And somehow that there's a recognition in our heart that there is an unconditional love, a greater love, a love of such vastness and such an infinite quality, and so blissful and so joyous, that's why we're on this planet. And all the busyness aside, that there is this root, there is this heart, there is this open-heartedness, this connection between us all, this connection between all of us as human beings and the planet itself and all the animals and the trees, and that life force that we feel within us, that we know gives us this breath, that is the difference between a live body and a dead body, that somehow is connected to love, that somehow is connected to each one of us, that we're all part of this giant being of love, this giant love flow, this love energy, this love manifester and manifesting. And we know that until we have a realization, a recognition an understanding and experience, and a consistent experience of that love, of that unconditional love, of that what people call God in all different ways, in all different forms, we won't know the true happiness. And in our heart, we know that that's why we're here and that's what we want. And that we just want to feel love and share it. And all the rest is so small and so minuscule compared to that longing and that hunger and that reality as a human being. That the recognition is that the time for that is really now. The time for that cannot be put off anymore. That whatever we can do individually and collectively to bring that realization, to bring that experience, to bring that knowing more into focus, more into an experience, more into our lives, more into our culture, more into our world, our glorious planet Earth. Now is the time to do that. And people are coming with all different gifts and skills and intent and destinies to bring that message. I mean, throughout history, there have been people who've brought that message. There are the Jesuses and Krishnas and Buddhas and Mohammeds, and many, many hundreds and hundreds of others have come and said, love is the question and love is the answer. They've said, treat your brother as you'd like to be treated. They've said it in all ways, all forms. And now people are coming into this planet again who are saying the same kinds of things over and over and over and over. And so many different spokes on the wheel coming into that center point of recognition of our connectedness, of the oneness, of love. And bridging, from the very beginning, the Bridging Show has been about that, to bring to us and to you and to the world as information, as vibrations, as energy, people whose lives are dedicated to that destiny, that task. And tonight's guest, Panache Desai, is another glorious example of the extraordinary people and gifts that are coming into this planet to bring us into that recognition, that love. He's a spiritual teacher, and from a deeply spiritual family, and as a childhood he was immersed in prayer and worship. His mother received numerous visions of what his destiny was and what his experiences were going to be, and how he's come to be part of that great transformation into an experience of our connectedness, our love. And he had an extraordinary experience, a few years ago, that he knew that his life was committed and dedicated to spreading peace, love, consciousness, that experience of oneness. And he flew in, across the United States to be with us here tonight in California, to share that experience, that gift, that vibration, that knowing, that dedication, and that commitment. And we're honored. I mean, another opportunity to come in, to settle in, to allow that experience to enliven in us all. And we have two beautiful videos. One came from Russia, the Ukraine, a great friend of Bridging. She did a beautiful piece for the art project. Nina Goncharova, New World Gates. It's a beautiful video. And then we have another video that was done. The song was written by Lessia and I. It's Oh Happy Day. It's a very, very favorite song of mine. It's a beautiful video and a beautiful song. As most of you know, we're in the middle of an extraordinary international healing art project that came as a dream, as a vision, as an acupuncture for the planet, as a healing for the heart of the planet, to just, from this vantage point, from this opportunity to reach the world through the medium of video and YouTube and Google video and the internet, of the Bridging Show, to reach out to the world and say, anybody who wants to produce manifest a new original piece based on the theme Bridging Heaven and Earth, get it to us. It doesn't matter what style, what format, what age, what skill level. Anybody who has the intent to be part of a collaboration, a healing, an acupuncture, a creativity, a project of intentionally loving collaboration, then join us. It's infinite, it's inclusive, and we have two beautiful pieces tonight, one by Cheryl Lee and one by Daniel Holman, who was a world-renowned artist. But let me read you what Cheryl Lee wrote about her piece called Mystery. It's an oil on canvas, you're looking at it now. I saw a mystery of blue fog in a small medieval town one night when the moon was rising. It was in an area of France near Toulouse. I kept that mystery of what was in that fog in my heart. Was it another dimension? Could it be what Alan calls the bridge between heaven and earth? I don't know, I cannot say. It has no name and it has no shape. Mystery is to be accepted and marveled at. One night after watching the show Bridging Heaven and Earth, I got this vision and began to search for the color to match my inspiration. It was coral and reds, and these all flowed so easily from my brush that I was up all night painting, not furiously, but happily. I sat on the floor and let the color and the mystery that is inside of me just shower itself onto the canvas whilst meditating on whether indeed there is this dimension between heaven and earth. And we can simply transport ourselves through consciousness to this place. Do I have to know how? Do I have to know what to call it? I only know what I love, and if I love and desire the manifestation of beauty around me, I find myself there. This is the mystery, and this is the bridge then. So isn't that beautiful? And so many people have, put in their poems and their writings and their feelings about doing the piece and what it meant to them and how it came to be. And really, if anyone is interested in being inspired, of being empowered, of feeling the healing energy of this international healing art project, go to heaventooearthart.com, heaven, T-O, earth.com, and just go to one artist page after another and just see the power, see the commitment, see the dedication, see the love, and join us, because it's really for everybody. And the more people who do it, the more the acupuncture happens, the more the healing happens. And it's an honor to be part of it. It's an honor to see all these pieces come in from all over the world, and the opportunities are infinite to how they're going to spread and how they're going to heal. So if anybody would like to join us, please do. So first, let me do a short meditation, then we'll have Nina's video, and then we'll have Panache with us. So please join me in a short meditation. Okay, so the first video will be New World Gates. It's from Russia, Ukraine. I mean, it was sent in from there to be in California, to be with us, to be available for you to see. English is not her first language, so there are little grammatical errors and things like that. But watch the energy, watch the commitment, watch the power, watch the intention. The art and poems are by Nina Goncharova. Go to the website and look at the piece she did for the art project. Amazing. And the music is by Claude Vizian-Canisa. I'm not so good on names, as you've probably gotten by now. So it's a beautiful video. Settle in, enjoy, and then Panache will be with us. Enjoy. Hi everybody, welcome back. So that was a beautiful video, and really, you know, it's just a universal world. We're all coming together, and you know, that one came in from Russia and the Ukraine. Thank you, Nina. You know, thank you, Claude, for making that available to us. So the picture you're seeing in between Panache and I is the picture that I read the poetry before, that you saw a little earlier. That's Oil and Canvas. It's called Mystery by Shirley. She's from California, but literally they're coming in from all over the world. So please, it would be an honor for you and for us if you joined us in collaborating and creating a beautiful piece based on the theme Bridging Heaven and Earth. So Panache, welcome. It's been a while since we've been planning this festivity.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Glad it's happening.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit, we were talking, you know, as we were waiting for the setup, about, you know, concepts and consciousness and how, you know, that blocks people from having the experience they really want. Why don't you talk about that?
I think that a lot of people, there's a big difference between knowing something and experiencing something. 97% of what everybody thinks they know is complete garbage, because it's not based in any experience or reality. It's basically something that's been told to them that they've then latched onto. But until you've experienced it yourself, how do you actually know that it's true? So there's a big difference between knowing and experiencing. It's time to go beyond spirituality. In fact, spirituality has become the biggest obstacle to our evolution since the beginning of time.
That's quite a mouthful, young man, with all the things. I mean, you know, there are things now, let's say religion, let's say countries, let's say, you know, the way we approach a lot of things that create, and you think now that spirituality has even dwarfed these others.
Yes, it has.
Why don't you explain that?
Yes, it has. Quite frankly, a lot of people in spirituality, you know, you should ask them how they feel about people that aren't spiritual and hear the answers. The answers are very interesting, because what's happened in spirituality is people have quite simply made themselves better than other people. They've stepped away from the understanding that every soul is on its own perfect journey. So because somebody meditates, or they eat organic, or they're vegetarian, or they're celibate, in some way it makes them better, you see. So people have identified with spirituality and they're stuck in it. You know, I always say that your average spiritual person is up to their neck in dung, always smelling the flowers. They're never really dealing with what they have to deal with. Continually looking for the next spiritual fix, the next person to fix them, the next technique, the next modality. You know, why is it that every modality, the higher you go, the more experience it gets, and more, you know, the more expensive it gets? With every level of a modality, you should be that much more evolved. It should get cheaper.
You're easier.
Right.
You're easier to work
with. But it gets more expensive. Well, so people get lost in modalities and techniques and practices that simply don't work for the most part anymore, that aren't necessary.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think people, they're so hungry, but the realization, I mean, what is that disconnect from having the experience and not realizing you're not?
They think there's something fundamentally wrong with them. They think that there's something flawed in them. They think that, you know,
got to be fixed.
Right. Like they think that because they haven't led a perfect life, or, you know, meditated every day, or had certain experiences, or been through certain things, that it makes them less divine in some way. And it's not true. You know, when I experienced what we call the divine, all I experienced was complete and total love and acceptance. In that moment, I was shown that everything else is man-made. Every regulation, every rule, every practice, it's all man-made. In fact, every spiritual experience has happened spontaneously. If you look at the life of any master, nothing was orchestrated. Most of them just spontaneously came into an awareness. When the divine was ready to have them have the experience, it happened, you see. So it's time to move beyond spirituality. It's time to break through that ceiling, time to break through that limitation. And in our new earth, in our new reality, happy to say that spirituality is not going to exist anymore.
And what will exist? I mean, you go around the country and
Sure.
you give talks,
Yeah.
and you give programs.
Yeah.
And would you say that is a teaching? Is that not a teaching?
Well,
You know, we use words. We
Yeah.
were talking earlier, and that we'd probably be better off sitting here
Yeah.
for an hour and not say anything, and yet
Yeah.
we're going to use words. So why don't you talk a little about that?
Well, I mean, I'm Indian in a spiritual capacity. You know, I picked the right outfit for this journey, and so
Except you're not white, as we were talking earlier.
No, yeah, break
Right.
that concept too.
Right, exactly.
You know, people basically, you know, do something with that. So, you know, they turn you into a master or a teacher. To me, there's only one teacher, and that teacher's the divine. And that teacher's trying to teach you all the time through everything in your life. You know, in India they say God, Guru, and the Self are one. There's no separation.
The
You
Father
see?
and I are
right.
one.
But
Right.
people forget that. You know, they place people.
Well, they don't experience that, so
Right.
it's hard to
Yeah.
be real for them.
And
Yeah.
also, you know, they don't fit their own criteria. You know, I haven't led this life. I don't wear orange. I don't live in an ashram. You know,
Right.
I haven't led this
The
perfect
last master.
existence. Right.
Right.
Exactly. And so, you know, we're continually trying to fit in, even in spirituality. You know, we're waiting to have the same experiences. A lot of people are still waiting for the angelic fanfare and, you know, the angels to descend from heaven, play them a tune, give them a T-shirt and a badge, and welcome to the Enlightenment Club. You know? They're
Or
gonna
whatever
be-
that is.
Right. And they're going to be waiting a very long time.
Right. And
Because-
they have been.
Right. You know, some people, you know, have been meditating for 30 years and they're just frustrated. You know, they do everything they're supposed to be doing and nothing's happening. They're just frustrated because they know in their hearts they should be further along, or they've been told they should be further along, and yet nothing has changed. They're still the same. They're still the same. So for me, it's been about demolishing a lot of these concepts and ideas and lovingly dissolving them, so people can just come back to the understanding and simplicity of what it is. Ultimately, we're divine. Everyone in our reality is divine, and everything that's unfolding is unfolding in divine order. We're just along for the ride. And it has absolutely nothing at all to do with us.
The us we identify with
Yes.
as singular, as
Yes.
separate.
Yes. The transformation that's occurring right now is one in which we perceive each other as our differences in race, gender, socioeconomic backgrounds, you know, even spiritual paths. God forbid you get two spiritual teachers in the room with each other. You should see it.
Yeah, no, it's brutal.
Oh my God!
It's
You know,
brutal.
whose asana is better than the other person's asana? This, that. Well, you know,
Whose
it's-
asana is better?
exactly, exactly. So you know, it's crazy.
Right,
you
it's
know?
nuts.
No, it needs to end.
Right.
And so the shift is moving from that reality of differences into a reality where we understand that we're the same. You know, that God actually loves us and accepts us just as we are. You know, why then do we not love and accept ourselves? Or why do we need the validation or approval of somebody who's in a spiritual position, you know, to validate us? Nobody can validate you. The fact that you're breathing is enough validation. The divine validates you with every breath. Accept it, be it, live it. So, it's been a fun journey for me. You know, I've had a lot of fun, you know, really offending all of that which is false in people, because there's so much that they hold on to that's just nonsense. And the more spiritual they are, the more offended they are, because the more they've identified with things. I love it.
Well, we were talking earlier, if a lot of people aren't angry with you or think you're crazy,
Yeah.
you're not trying hard enough.
No, no. If somebody's not offended, we haven't done our role properly, you see. And it's not that, you know, we're out to offend people, but it's, you know, it's drawing everything that's false out of people. It's, you know, there's
Or
too
even
much.
just putting up the truth.
Right. I mean, there's
just
too much
putting on in
nonsense.
the mirror
Right.
almost looks offensive.
Yeah, you know, I didn't fit my own paradigm. I'm Indian. You know, I was born into a spiritual family. You know, but I don't wear orange. I don't live in an ashram. You know, I hadn't led a perfect life. There's no such thing.
Well,
And-
who's defining a perfect
right.
life? I mean,
Exactly.
it's
And in
lunacy.
fact, what I've realized or come to realize is it's everything that we deem to be imperfect that is actually perfect about us. You know, it's all of
Nothing
that.
is not.
No.
I mean, we talk about the expression we use here is everything's perfect and getting better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So liberation, really, for me, somebody asked me, you know, what is liberation? It's just simply coming to the acceptance of yourself.
In every moment.
Yeah.
Right.
And realizing that you, the way you are actually pretty cool. You, the way you are, as the divine created you to be. Stop thinking you need to be different. Let go of the insanity. Let go of the insanity that you need to be different or you need to change something. Just embrace yourself. Lovingly accept yourself. And then you will automatically love and accept everyone and everything around you. And then you'll love as the divine loves. You know? You don't have to give things up. You know, Jesus was as powerful as he was because he shared through his humanity. You know, he didn't sit there and say, You know, you're far too stupid to understand what I'm saying. Maybe you'll get it in 3,000 years, so I'm just going to make chairs and tables for the rest of my life.
Right.
No, he embraced every single person that came where they were, not from a place of being better, not from a place of being greater, not from a place of being superior, but from being human, through having the human experience and allowing the divine to flow through him beautifully to everybody that came, letting them know that they also are divine. See? That's the difference, you know? So many people in spirituality have made their humanity wrong, you know? God forbid a spiritual person is experiencing anything other than bliss or has that fake plastic smile on their face, you know? God forbid they're actually experiencing anger. Well, it must be negative energy. Something must be impacting me. There's no such thing as negative energy. It's just energy.
It's just energy.
It's
Right?
just energy. So it's yet more concepts and ideas that we have to move through. And thank God, the vibration and the consciousness is expanding to where we can move through these things quicker. Thank God.
Right, the quantum is reaching that.
Yeah.
That falsehood is
Yeah.
being disintegrated.
Yes.
in essence.
Everything that isn't in alignment with the truth has no choice but to dissolve. No choice.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
Very fortunate. It's an exciting time,
It's
Alan.
very
It
exciting.
really is. Yeah, it really is. The other great thing that's happening is that also, you know, all these things that separate us are dissolving. So all these different streams of consciousness that have existed, different traditions, different paths, are merging into a river, merging into this big wave of energy. Ultimately, every path and every tradition is going to merge into one. There will be no separation.
I mean, that's all false.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, I mean, and the root of all the waves were
Yeah.
the same. I mean,
Yeah.
they were all about love and
Yeah.
brother and sister.
Yes, it is. So for me, it's been a very interesting journey. You know, it's been an amazing journey. And with the simple message came a very profound gift that has absolutely nothing to do with me. You know, this energy is so lovingly present again to elevate everything in its presence to its highest level. You know, this gift, people try and label it and give it so many different names, but really it's indescribable. And every person that receives this gift goes on to transform, goes on to move into the fullness of who they are. Their life just gets better in spite of themselves. And they move into deeper and deeper levels of awareness. And so at this time, this vibration is being introduced. And it's a vibration that has not been present before, simply because humanity has not been ready to receive it. Well, now it's time. And the whole universe is rooting for us. Every master, every teacher, every light being throughout all time and space and all dimension is cheerleading our ascension. Our time is now. Our time to let go of the nonsense and grow up and mature into the fullness of who we are is now. See, people say this is an evolution and an ascension. I see it as human beings simply growing up, getting over all the childish nonsense and growing up into our higher selves, into the fullness of who we are. So it's a beautiful time. It really is. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, I think that there's so much change is really exploding.
Yeah.
You know, all the new paradigms being built and all that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a blessing to be alive now. You know, we've incarnated at this time to witness one of the greatest moments in the history of the universe. And by virtue of the fact that we've incarnated in America, we're going to have a front row seat. Because America is actually going to ascend first. You know, this year, I was so strongly guided to travel throughout America doing sessions and offer 4 global gatherings, which is basically bringing people together from all different paths, all different traditions.
Yeah, the time and space.
Right.
It's just compact.
So all these people have just been coming together to offer their love and their light for the benefit of humanity. And it's been an amazing thing, you know? It's been an amazing thing. That oneness, that unity, call it whatever you want, is here. We are it, and it's time to embrace it now. You know, the world isn't waiting for one person to come back.
Right.
The world has been waiting for each and every single one of us to realize who we are, to move into the fullness of who we are, and to live from that place of fullness in every moment, understanding that every single part of us is exactly as the divine created it to be. It's a beautiful thing.
Takes a lot of the weight out of your backpack.
It does, yeah. You know, having a relationship with God isn't a reward-based system. You don't do something to have a relationship with God. You naturally, by virtue of the fact that you were born, have a relationship with the divine. You see?
And we were talking, we did 2 shows today, and that you have it as a child, and then somehow the experiment was that you leave there in a way, and then to come back to that. And now the time is that more and more people are coming back to that, and the quantum energy is...
Collectively we're realizing that we are, we're all human beings, we're all love, we're all light, call it whatever you want. But there is a profound innate similarity that bonds us all. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there is, the root is the same, always.
Because on that planet, who are you going to go to war with? Who are you going to let starve? Who are you going to let sleep on the street? Who are you going to let suffer? Nobody. On that planet where you and I meet each other as the truth of who we are, from that place of divinity, from that place of love, from that place of acceptance, our planet immediately transforms.
Right. That's, the root is healed.
Yeah. So what we're being offered at this time is a solution. It's not a shift in understanding. It is a complete vibrational shift.
Well, understanding won't do it.
Right. And we've all done the seminars, we've all done the workshops, we've all done everything that you're supposed to do. Every one of us understands why we are the way we are, but nothing transforms.
And at some point you don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah, basically. It's like, it doesn't matter
why
I am the way I am.
Right. Let's just move on from there.
Exactly. So it's a marvelous thing. Really is.
And you find that people are really responding to that because
they
they're
are
frustrated with all the other stuff.
Oh, they've had
even
enough.
the old stuff, even the countries and the sexual preference, all the ways that we've separated before, and now the ways of spirituality that separated.
Yeah.
So they're just sick of the whole
They are.
ball of wax.
They've had enough of it, because no authentic transformation has been sustained. Your average human being is like a yo-yo, up and down, ecstatic states of expansion, and then they're either in the depths of despair. There's nothing in the middle. You see, because people aren't really doing the work. They're deferring it onto somebody else. They're empowering somebody else to do the work.
I get high when I go in the room with the master.
Right, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way,
Right.
Just a bunch of people.
All right, we'll do the second video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about this. So the second video is a beautiful video put together by the crew of Bridging. It's Oh Happy Day. The song was written by Lessia and I. It was on the Lessia Bridging Heaven and Earth CD, Oh Happy Day. Enjoy.
Happy day, no more painful walls divide us. Oh, happy day, it's a new millennium. Oh, happy day, with spirit that'll guide us. Oh, happy day. We've been lost in our illusions. We were brainwashed from the start. We've been captured by contradictions that confuse a gentle heart. We've been pieces of a puzzle with a picture so unclear. We could never make much sense of how to love or what to feel. I believe we can do it. I think we stand a chance. It just takes a bit of knowing it's like learning how to dance. Since we are the world, we can change the world. Oh, happy day, see that kid out on the sidewalk.
Okay, so welcome back. That was Oh Happy Day, one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite videos. And the beautiful piece you're singing between Panache and I is Daniel Holman, Heaven and Earth. He's from San Rafael, California. He's a world-renowned digital artist. And this is a digital art piece on canvas. You've probably seen Daniel's stuff all over the internet on covers, and he's just an extraordinary being and really dedicated to spreading love and light. So that's the piece here. So Panache, okay, so as we break these concepts and as we come in, that the illusion and the delusion starts to disintegrate.
Yes, it does.
And then only truth will rise. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, once you move beyond, all these concepts and ideas, like for me, I was born into an Indian family, so the only time I'd experienced anything like this was from someone who wore orange, lived in an ashram, was vegetarian, at least had the appearance of being celibate. We've subsequently found out that most of them weren't anyway.
Right.
But, so they at least had the appearance of being somebody who was like this.
Who fit into
right,
the mold
older,
of a...
white beard, got the whole thing going on. And that wasn't me. I was a kid. I was like just trying to make it through life. All of a sudden I'm having these experiences and things are happening around me, and they didn't make any sense to me and I wasn't doing it. It was just happening, you see? So it's time to break all these boxes. The truth is, if self-realization were a job position that you could interview for, most people would fail their own interview process because they wouldn't meet their own criteria. That's the truth of it. Right,
because they have an idea of what...
Right.
Right.
The other side of it is that people are just completely afraid of what that even means. They have no idea what it means to be realized or to even live in that state. Your average person thinks that you're going to walk around like a zombie, not feel any emotions anymore, and the only expression you're going to have is this.
Right. I'm a happy camper.
And that's going to be it, Right. And that's not it. Ultimately, you're only going to be more yourself, your true self. You're going to go from having a drama-filled existence into a quiet, peaceful existence. That no matter what happens in your reality, you're at peace with it. You're in the acceptance of it. The amazing thing is that even the greatest pain in the world, when you're in the acceptance of it, you're not suffering anymore. You're not suffering. So suffering is optional. Empowering and disempowering yourself ends. It's time for people to just come into the fullness of who they are. Stop the searching, stop the seeking. Your average person is like a dog chasing their own tail. They're trying to grab something that's a part of themselves. The other one I like to use is like with billionaires begging for change. Stop begging for what you already have.
Yeah, we're in an ocean of water begging for...
Yeah.
We're thirsty.
It's like it's time to just understand that you as you are, were created in all of its glory. You're a perfect creation. And now it's time to move beyond the searching and the seeking to effect the transformation that we've incarnated to effect. Because the truth is, every one of us is holding a vibration or a frequency at this time. Every one of us is back again, as we promised we would be when humanity needed us the most. To hold this vibration, to hold this frequency, to carry people over. People are very caught up in this annihilation, apocalyptic conversation. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Right.
That, the divine doesn't operate in deadlines.
Right, it doesn't have a
So just because So just because a bunch of other dimensional beings who are 5 foot tall decided to set a deadline for the ascension of humanity, it's not a deadline to me. It's a great motivator.
Infinite time and space.
Right.
What does it mean?
Exactly. So it's time for everyone to just understand that they're it. It's time to just come into the awareness that you're it. And then it's time for everybody to start understanding that everybody else is also fine the way they are. Come into the acceptance of that, come together. Then we can end war, then we can end famine, we can end poverty.
There's plenty on the planet.
Right.
Right.
We can transform it, but it's going to happen through a transformation of consciousness, not through a conversation. And that's where I'm blessed. I don't have to convince anybody of anything. It's very simple. Come, receive the energy. That's it. Come. Experience yourself. Free yourself at the deepest level of all that you don't need and move into the fullness of who you are. And then radiate that for others so that they can look in the mirror and see who they are. That's what it's about. Want to empower somebody, empower yourself. Take your own picture, hang a garland of flowers around your own picture. Offer incense to yourself every day. Bow to yourself. When someone comes to your house and asks you what it's about, say, that's my guru. That's my source of wisdom. That's my source of love. That's what the divine created me to be. And I'm living in the full acceptance of that. You know? So,
Yeah,
it's an amazing thing. Yeah. 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 It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is an amazing thing. And it's interesting because clearly what needs to happen is that experience.
Yeah.
And until that has the experience, only ideas come, only the momentum of
Right.
the old paradigms mean anything to
Right.
you.
And you know, the other thing is that, you know, if someone's fishing, only a hungry fish takes the bait. You see? So if you understand who you are, you're not going to get sucked into things, you're not going to get caught up in things, you know, you're just going to stay rooted in the truth of who you are. Stay rooted in the experience of who you are, you see? So the world is now ready to have that experience. And the divine is implementing what's occurring on this planet. It has nothing to do with any of us. This vibration is the highest frequency of love and light available to humanity at this time. And it's simply time to just receive it and accept it. Simply time to just let it in. Let everything that we don't need anymore go and understand the fullness of who we are, who we've always been, and who we will always be, a part of this infinite expression that is God. So, it's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it cuts right to, in essence, it cuts to the root, to the chase.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we talk about that if the heart isn't healed, the root isn't healed,
Yeah.
then you can try to water a leaf or,
Yeah.
you know, really heal a leaf and it won't
Right.
work. So all the problems are from this toxic root
Right.
of separation, of not experiencing that.
Yeah. You see, at the highest level of consciousness, there's nothing to heal.
Right.
Because there's nothing wrong with anybody. You know? Healing's funny.
But there's, because of the disharmony that people, the delusion that they're under,
Right.
things happen that are,
Yeah.
in essence, disharmonious.
Yeah. Vibrationally, when you come into alignment, healing happens as a side effect.
Right.
It's not the goal.
Right.
You see, our natural state of being, Alan, is complete health and vitality, love and abundance, and connection to the divine. That's our natural state of being. What that means is, you've got a house right next to the power station, okay, the source of it all, you've got electricity, you've got light bulbs, but you're just not turning the switch on because you feel like you don't deserve it, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. You know, how could the divine possibly love you the way you are? You know, and that's what needs to end. You know, it's nonsense. You're connected, you're always connected. There's nothing that you need to do to be connected. You know, you were born enlightened. It's nothing to attain. Enlightenment, you as a soul came into your body, that's enlightenment, case closed. That's a lifelong eternal membership. And there is nothing that you can do to revoke your membership to the Enlightenment Club. See? So
Actually, there's an expression that Buddha, when he finally came into his own enlightenment, realized that he'd always been enlightened.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
It's an amazing thing.
right.
So, you know, for me, it's just having the blessing of allowing what's happening to happen. You know, understanding that I'm just an internet service provider for divine love. Understanding that we're upgrading everyone's connection from dial-up to DSL, so that they can basically come into the awareness that they and the divine have always been one, you know, and that you don't need to go through somebody. You don't need to go through...
Yeah, the direct route, and
Right.
it's within, inside,
Right.
and that's it.
And the amazing thing is that every guru, every teacher that's in alignment is already retiring, because they know that their role is coming to an end. So they've already begun their transition. And in fact, those that are truly in alignment can't wait to be retired. They speak of it openly. Because on a planet in which we all know we're divine, why do you need somebody to remind you anymore who you are? You don't. You know, I've already picked out my spot on the beach, and a nice book. I'll enjoy my family.
Do you think we'll be still doing the shows or doing
Well, I don't
with
know.
comics?
Yeah, it'll just be, you know, it'll be
Oh,
whatever it
kidding.
needs to be.
Right,
you know,
understand.
it'll be whatever it needs to be.
Right.
But you know, everything is going to transform.
Change.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And, you know,
Exactly.
people are hell bent on saving the world. Why? The world doesn't work. Why save it? Benefits a few. It doesn't benefit everybody. It's time for the world to end the way it is, and it's time for a new reality to emerge. One of love and collaboration and cooperation, instead of one that's based in fear and scarcity. You see? So,
Amen.
yeah, it's on. Yeah, it is.
And so as a child, these were the visions you were getting?
As a child, it's very funny. My mother, before she had me, had a stillborn baby girl. And so when she was 3 months pregnant with me, she went to India to be blessed by a living saint. And my family, for 4 generations and more, had met living masters and teachers who were able to give you a direct experience of the divine. In India, you've got people that can tell you about the Vedas and scriptures and recite mantras, but then there's somebody who can actually plug you into the mains. So we were blessed to have 4 generations of that in our family. And so I was born into a spiritual family. I'd always felt like I was from somewhere else. I didn't fit in, As a child, I remember looking up at the sky going, okay, joke's over, come get me now. Having those experiences, and I never fit in. But what I'd like to say to people is that we're not here to fit in. You vibrationally are different, not special, not important, different. You've come from a different vibrational place to hold that frequency here. And every one of those frequencies is like a note on a piano. And every one of those notes on a piano, when it's played together, creates the most beautiful symphony of energy. And that's what's going to happen. Humanity is getting ready to play the most beautiful symphony of energy it has ever heard and ever known. That's what the divine's doing through each and every single one of us. And so for me, it was a journey of not fitting in, then trying to fit in. As a young man, doing all the things that you're supposed to do to fit in and be accepted, that didn't work. Not fitting in didn't work. So in the end, you just have to embrace your difference. Just have to embrace the fact that you, as you are, pretty cool the way you are. And there's a greater purpose behind it. With me it was a little weird because every time I'd go to see somebody, they'd say to me, you're here to transform the consciousness of this planet. You've incarnated for a reason. And it became like this running joke. It's like everyone in my life knew more about me than I did. It didn't matter if it was a rabbi or a guru or a shaman. It didn't matter. They'd all have the same conversation. And they'd say, you have my blessing. And I'd be like, yeah, right. Not me. How could it possibly be me? I'm just a kid. Pick someone more qualified, Actually, one of your guests, Michael Beckwith, said something really amazing that really hit home to me. He said, God doesn't pick qualified people.
Right.
God qualifies the people it picks.
Right. Yeah, it's not
right.
reasonable.
Right. So it's been an amazing journey for me. And
in 2003 or something, thereabouts, you had a specific experience, a specific time?
Yeah, from the period of about 2000 to 2002, I went through the most intense cleansing and clearing you could ever imagine. It was awful. I didn't enjoy a second of it.
Really?
But I knew that really amazing stuff was happening. It culminated for me on New Year's Eve of 2002, 2003. I'm sitting in my apartment, and all of a sudden I feel like my apartment's filled with people that I couldn't see. And it was weird. It just freaked me out at first. So it went on, I'm like, okay, this is bizarre. I'm going to try and get some sleep, of course. Lay down, try and get some sleep. All of a sudden, things start happening. Lights turn on, people are whispering things to me in my ear that, are not languages from this planet. Nothing like I'd ever heard before. I was tapped on my shoulder. So I stayed awake the whole night. So eventually, it got to about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was completely freaked out. Got in my car, in my pajamas, drove about 3 miles away, and just sat in my car for about 30 minutes, completely freaking out. Like, this is weird. Eventually, I got tired of being cold, went back to my apartment, turned all the lights on before any other light being could switch any light on. I just turned them all on. So I'm sitting there with all the lights on my couch, and this experience just intensified. Got to about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and there was a spiritual teacher, and every year she gives a New Year's message. And normally it's very eloquent, the divine is within you, you are an embodiment of the divine, and the divine is all there is, so you're divine. And then you contemplate it for the year, and you derive whatever meaning you get from that. So I went, I had no intention of being awake. I went. I get there, that year it's one word and one word alone, trust. I'm like, really? Like, you kept me awake for one word, trust? You could have just sent me the email. Right. Really? So I hear that word, as soon as I hear that word, I leave. That's it. That's it. So I leave, I get in my car, I drive home, I lay down on my bed. And the very second I lay down, I'm on my back, my palms are open, and I'm just feeling this intense energy coming into both of my palms and into my heart. The physical sensation was one that you'd have, it's almost like if you were having a heart attack. Left side of my body was numb, couldn't move, and my heart was pounding out of my chest, like you couldn't believe. So I phoned a friend of mine who I considered to be a heart attack expert. She's had 3 of them and heart bypass surgery. So I called her up and said, what does it feel like? She said, well, your heart's pounding out of your chest, the left side of your body's numb. That's a heart attack. Right. So I said, okay. She said, well, do you want me to get you or do you want me to send an ambulance? I said, well, hang on a minute, because there's one part of this that doesn't make sense. There's an amazing energetic piece to this.
Right.
So I phoned a friend of mine who was a shaman, and he's not what you consider a shaman to look like. Kind of looks like Albert Einstein. He's got this really big white
Right.
kind of afro going on. And he was this weird looking dude, but he was a shaman. I loved him, respected him. So I called him and said, what's happening? He said, you're dying. I said, well, thank you. You're the shaman. You're supposed to give me some spiritual answer. I could have told you I was dying. He said, no, you're dying. I said, great. He said, there's a part of you that needs to die. So the amount of light that you're here to bring through, there's a part of you that needs to die. And he said, you can either resist it or you can accept it. If you resist it, it's going to take longer. If you accept it, you're going to go through it faster. Then finally, my last phone call was to a friend of mine who was traveling at that time doing sessions. And he said, well, Panache, I've never known anybody to go through anything as intensely as you. And it just means that God's preparing you for something. And he said, by all means, if it's uncomfortable, please go to the hospital and they can deal with the side effects, but they won't be able to help you. So at that point, I called my heart attack expert back, put her on notice. I said, if it gets too unbearable, I'll call you. And in that day and a half, I went through this amazing transformation, Alan. I got up from that experience, and the very second I walked out of my door, it was almost like the difference between on a sunny day when you wear sunglasses, and then you take them off. It's like everything has that brilliance. Everything was luminous. The concrete was luminous. People were luminous. Food was luminous. The leaves, everything that I could see was luminous. And I began to see what reality really was about. Just a complete and total play of the light. And so in that moment, for me, my yeah right phase ended. And I had no choice after that experience but to, share. Mm-hmm. No choice.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I say to people. There's no difference between my journey and yours. I was a little hard-headed, so I needed to have this experience so I can stand in front of a room of people that I don't know, tell them they're divine, tell them they're loved and accepted the way they are. So
Right.
that's why I had to have that. That's it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told that story.
No, thank you for asking.
Because, it fills in some of the understanding.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just, interesting. But I'm
Yeah.
sure people could feel it. So really we're coming to the end of the show,
Okay.
amazingly enough. But if anybody wants any information about Panache, the art project, any of the videos, anything we're doing with bridging, call me, Alan, 805-687-2053, 805-687-2053. Panache will be going around, go to his website, you'll see at panachedesai.com. He's giving workshops and talks and healings and all over. So it's Alan, 805-687-2053. Good night, God bless you, we love you.